Hello, welcome to another episode of This, That, and the Other. It's the day after Easter. I hope everybody had a happy Easter. And the night before Easter Sunday, after I got home from work, I was I caught the tail end of that movie, The Ten Commandments, and I remember seeing it actually at a military movie theater in Okinawa at the Fort Buckner Theater on Army Base. I believe it was 1973, if I'm not mistaken. And they had one showing of it. Usually, the way it worked, a Buckner theater would get the movie first, and then other theaters on military bases would show the movie. But this particular one, they just had one screening for the night before Easter of the Ten Commandments. And I remember at the very beginning of that movie, the director Cecil DeMille coming out and introing the movie. He was talking about how that was an unusual procedure, but he said, we're talking about an unusual subject. And he was mentioning that the running time in that movie was 3 hours and 39 minutes. And that there would be an intermission. And a little audio from his intro.
The five books of Moses. The story takes 3 hours and 39 minutes to unfold. There will be an intermission.
And yes, he said there will be an intermission. I remember there was one. I don't remember at what time frame they had the intermission, but it was a very long movie, but it was a very good movie. And I saw it on television the other night. They'd restored the print. The print I saw of it was badly scratched, I remember. But this one was flawless. It was there were no scratches on it whatsoever. They totally restored it to perfection. And I remember the special effects of that fire and the fire making out the words on the tablets for the Ten Commandments. And there's a scene too where the sea is parted, and this movie had quite a few well-known actors in it as well. Starred young Charlton Heston as Moses. Ann Baxter was in it. Yul Brynner played the dictator Ramses. Edward G. Robinson, Yvonne DeCarlo, Deborah Paget, John Derek, Martha Scott, Fraser Clark, Heston. I was looking down too at some of the others that were in it that are recognizable names. Vincent Price was in it. Just taking a look here at names that I recognize. No, these are really names that I do recognize, and I know that they're actors from far back. It had Kathy Garver was in that movie too. She played Rachel. Kind of interesting. Did not know that. I was just looking at some of the other names, and no, none of these other names are really names that I'm familiar with. But it was quite a movie. Great effects and everything. It was budgeted for $13 million, and its initial release, it made $122.7 million. Release date was November 8th, 1956. Running time 220 minutes with intermission. So this was definitely a very long movie, but very good movie. Movie was also nominated and won some Academy Awards. a little synopsis on it. Enjoying a life of ease in the court of Egypt's Pharaoh, Moses Charlton Heston discovers his Hebrew heritage and later God's expectations of him. He dedicates himself to liberating his people from captivity, and with the aid of plagues and divine intervention, manages to lead them out of Egypt and across the Red Sea. A greater challenge comes in the form of the golden calf idol. However, it takes an unforgettable visitation by God on Mount Sinai for Moses' mission to prevail. I remember the very end of that movie too. That golden calf idol was destroyed. God destroyed it and it burned. I remember that. I was trying to look on the internet and see if I could see how long that movie was unedited. You know, as you know, when they make these movies, they film a lot of additional footage that never appears on the screen. They edit it down to the point where it usually fits a certain time slot. And what I was told, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, the movie itself, after all the filming was done, unedited, would have been over 5 hours long. That's what somebody told me. I haven't found anything that really substantiates that, but they obviously, if that's the case, they obviously edited out a couple of reels in that movie. I was reading too that ABC was one that ran the Ten Commandments of what I saw of it, the end of it on Saturday night, and from what I was reading, they've been airing it for the last 3 years. Apparently, they must have gotten rights to that movie. But I do remember going to it in Okinawa at the military theater, and that movie sold out. I went with my mother, and we're at the point where there were no seats together. My mother and I had to sit in different places, I remember, but it was all right. We wanted to see the movie, so it's like, okay, we got there a little late, but at least we got a ticket. We got into the movie, and we wanted to see that movie. So I mean, it was a very worthwhile experience, and it's a very, very good movie. And if you haven't seen that movie, I think it's one of the must see, especially for people that are really movie buffs. I'm sure most movie buffs have seen that movie, but if you haven't, I would say that's a must see, because that's one of the best movies ever made in my opinion, and probably other opinions as well. And I very much enjoyed seeing that movie, even though it was very long. But from what I remember, it moved smoothly, and I didn't get bored with it. I mean, I've been to some movies where I've fallen asleep because the movies have been so boring. This was not one of those movies. This thing seemed to go through the flow pretty smoothly from what I can remember. Of course, my memory is from over like 50 years ago when I saw this movie, but those are my memories of the Ten Commandments, and I thought I would share them. And as always, like, subscribe, share, and looking for ideas on shows to do in the future. Like I said, my show is about preserving history, especially obscure aspects of history. And with that being said, thanks for watching.